Thank you very much for the introduction. My name is Mino, and first of all, I would like to thank the organizers to give me this very important opportunity. Actually, I think this topic, the main subject of this conference, because as already many people talked about the collaboration between different disciplines, different people, different thinking is very important in order to create something new. And actually many people know this, but the question is what to do and how to do. So I already learned from Professor Wang's lecture that there are some way to approach this very interesting and difficult problem. In fact, I realized that his presentation has a lot of similarity to my presentation. And well, anyway, I have prepared for this presentation, so I will do this. But you may find some a little different approaches to the same problem. So I will start. So the title of my presentation is Sustainability as a Tool to Design Future Society. Actually, the title is a bit different from what you have there. And first of all, I have to apologize one thing. I prepared this presentation a few days ago and sent some basic material to you. But when I was at the airport, Narita Airport in Japan, I was attacked by a huge thunderstorm, and the flight was delayed by 2 hours. So I had time to revise my slide, and I realized that the time is somehow limited, so I removed some slides. So your slide is a little different from what I'm using here. But anyway, I am from the University of Tokyo, and current major or current interest of mine is sustainability, because I'm coordinator of this new program, which is called Graduate Program in Sustainability Science Global Leadership Initiative. This is new master's and PhD program. I will explain this later on if I have time. And but I was educated as environmental or wastewater engineer. So my background is engineer, but I have many colleagues now who are from social science side. So in that sense, I think I'm relevant for this occasion, because this is somehow discussing the collaboration between social and engineering. My main topic is sustainability. Why are we concerned of sustainability? Because unsustainable situations are often recognized. So the sustainability issue is always problem-driven. You can identify some problem, then we think what to do with that. Pollution problem. Pollution problem, depletion of resource, of course, the climate change, north-south issue or poverty issue. These are the problems which we recognize in the context of sustainability. Just think why these are unsustainable. I will get through some examples from now. As Professor Kuko once said, I'm also talking about the population change in the past. This is the population change in the past 2,000 years. Do you think that the current situation is sustainable? population is increasing. How do you see the future? In this way? Or somebody say no. Then how do you expect? By the way, do you know this book, The Limit to the Goal? It's a kind of milestone book or report, and this describes a possible future of the mankind. This was published in 1972, and actually this a very important report said at that time, if the present growth trend in world population, industrialization, pollution, food production, and resource depletion continue unchanged, then the limits to growth on the planet will be reached sometime within the next 100 years. That means in the 21st century. This prediction is based on the system's dynamics. They try to model the human's activity and try to see what's going to happen in the future. Of the 21st century, the population starts decreasing, and within, say, some years, the population gets half. What does that mean? Many people actually die. This prediction actually indicates something like that. Of course, we don't have this situation, and this is one of the worst scenario. So I don't know whether you believe this result now or not. But this is the prediction already done in 72. Actually, here the indicate 92. This is not a mistake, because when this idea was first presented, the computer power is not so strong and the data is not enough. So after 20 years, the same author from MIT in the US did nearly the same procedure with the new computer and the new data. And the outcome is like this. So, this is what you usually expect, but in fact, according to, for example, ecology theory, or according to the prediction by the limits to the growth, actually this kind of fluctuation can happen. But we want to be clever enough to have this trend. That's how we try to achieve. So this increase of our activity, increase of the population is already kind of leads to unsustainable situation because of many reasons, pollution, depletion of resources, and so on. The next case, the social dimensions. These pictures already tell you what's wrong with the current situation. Because here in Seoul, or in my country, in Japan, in Tokyo, we enjoy our life, but that's not the typical situation of the whole world. This slide shows the relation between GDP and 1 year child survival rate. In countries like US, Japan, Western Europe, Scandinavia, has a very high GDP, that could lead to high survival rate of child. But if you look at countries in Africa, the sanitary situation or public health situation is not good enough. And this slide clearly shows that there is a relation between the sanitary conditions and GDP. In 1980s, or even the late 70s, there was a discussion on sustainability already. And one of the very famous outputs,
outcome is given in this report, Our Common Future, which is actually published by the World Commission on Environment and Development. And this lady, Ms. Brundtland, was heading that committee. And in this report, it was said that the sustainable development means development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs. If you consume all, say, resources, the oil, energy resources, and so on, then that would not be left for the future generation. Then that means that you are actually destroying some possibility for the future generation. That's not sustainable. But not only this resource issue, but there are several issues that must be considered. And through those discussions, at the point of the Rio Summit in 1992, there was a kind of understanding on sustainability. That is, when you think about sustainability, not only this environmental issue like resource and pollution, but also the social issues is very important. That would lead to unsustainability. So, and the economy. Nowadays, you may see actual cases where the unsustainable economic situation can happen, like a Lehman shock or Greece crisis and so on. Those financial matters can affect our economy a lot. So the sustainability in, not only in environment, but sustainability of the society, sustainability of the economy, we have to think all these factors. And some crisis in any of them can lead to unsustainable situation. At the beginning of this century, 21st century, the United Nations gave a big discussion on what to do in the next century, or this century. And they came up with, say, one, not really a document, but a kind of idea called Millennium Development Goals. So these are the goals that we try to achieve in the 21st century. If you look at one by one, okay, so poverty, hunger issue, primary education, promote gender equality, empower women, and the fourth one, reduce child mortality. Number 5, maternal health, and number 6, combat HIV, AIDS, malaria, and other disease. So all these are somehow related to developing countries, and only at the 7th item, ensure environmental sustainability. So all the pollution, say, resource issue, all these are included here. When we discuss sustainability in Japan, many of the people are talking about not those social issues, but on the resource issue, for example, because Japan, we don't have much resources. But in the context of the whole world, the social issues are much more important in the context of sustainability. And after 10 years, 10 years, this Johannesburg summit, this is the summit, World Summit for Sustainable Development. This is held in Johannesburg after 10 years, after the Rio Summit. And there were a lot of discussions on sustainability, but one of the outcomes is the emphasis on education. So by showing these examples, I actually want to emphasize the comprehensive and broad view is important. Even though you are, say, engineer, or even though you are social side, you have to think of the both sides. So technological innovations are of course important, but social reform is also important. I think you realize what this is. 3 years ago in Japan, there was a big earthquake, and after that, a big tsunami hit Japan. So this is a kind of uncontrollable disaster. But once this happens, we see a lot of unsustainable situation in there. And moreover, what was worse was the earthquake or tsunami was followed by a nuclear accident. And this actually gave a big impact on the energy future of Japan, not only on Japan, but also to the whole world. Wars and terrorism, financial crisis. What to do with this? Is it possible to avoid these things? Actually, disaster should happen. Of course, we want to avoid wars and terrorism. Financial crisis, it's really difficult to predict when this happen and how they happen. But so these are some kind of, I should not say uncontrollable, but something which contains a lot of uncertainty. So once these things happen, then we have to have a certain way to deal with these difficult issues. So when we discuss sustainability, we often start with the pollution issue or resource issue, energy issue, but financial aspect is very important nowadays. Social inequity or poverty issue are creating a lot of frictions and different situation, disaster. Okay, so all these are somehow the issues that we have to think about under the umbrella, big umbrella of sustainability. Here, what I'm saying is sustainability is a tool to design the future society. You may think it's strange because sustainability is something that we have to achieve, so it's like a goal. But what I'm saying here is sustainability is a tool to use. As I said, I'm working for the new graduate program called the Graduate Program in Sustainability Science. This was established in 2007, and when we tried to establish this program, we discussed a lot how to organize the new program, what could be the concept behind the program, and so on. And one of the outcomes is these 3 keywords. So we can think of 3-fold approaches toward sustainability, and say when we try to achieve sustainable society, then we have to think many things, but the way to think about sustainability implies these 3 keywords: holistic, resilient, and transboundary. So when you hear about sustainability, the term of sustainability, you can think of these 3 keywords: holistic, transboundary, and resilient. That means that's why I'm saying that this is something that you use to solve your own problem. The first one, holistic. As I said, there are 3 dimensions of sustainability: environmental, economic, social. If you are an engineer, then you may try to solve the problem from engineering approach. If you, let's say, in my case, I'm a wastewater engineer. I have a wastewater in front of me, then I try to develop some technology to improve the water quality. But that's not enough. Economic aspect. What happened? Okay. Thank you. Say not only those technological aspects, but social aspect must be considered. Social means how people accept the technology under what cultural situation, for example. So that's one way to broaden your eye. Temporal plane, you are supposed to solve that problem in front of you. Now, how much time span or time length you think about in order to come up with your solution? If you think of 10 years time frame, that would come up with some idea. If you think of 100 years, you may come up with another idea. I don't know whether you need to think of 1,000 years time frame, but actually, as for the case of the earthquake, we had similar, say, earthquake and tsunami 1,000 years ago. So if we look on our history in the time span of 1,000 years, then we have to be ready for that. So the time frame is very important. Spatial plane is also important. In these days, the world is connected with each other so tightly. In case of Japan, we import the 60% of our food. Only 40% of food are produced in Japan. But actually, those 40% food are dependent on, for example, energy or, say, nutrient and so on. So in reality, the 40% food coverage within domestic coverage is not really 40%. The actual figure is much less. That means Japanese people are dependent on the outside world a lot. So if you try to solve the problem just in front of you, that issue may be somehow related to many other parts of the world, and you have to think of this connection. So that's what I mean spatial plane. Actually, I'm giving several examples, but I skip. Dilemma. If you want to do something, then and you try to solve a problem, I think you assume that you are doing a good thing. But whatever you do, always something should have its dark side and shiny side and dark side. So the problem, the solution to a problem actually creates the new problem. This is happening very often. The typical example of the dilemma is development and environment. If you want to achieve development, then you may destroy an environment. So by saying holistic, what I want to say is you have to broaden your eyes. You have to know the way to come up with completely different idea from what you are thinking, or you have to be ready to accept the very broad, comprehensive view. So system thinking, holistic thinking, these are important. And resilient. By the way, do you know the term resilience? Are you familiar with the term resilience? This is the capacity to recover. If you are damaged, then you have to recover. So that capacity is called resilience. This is a kind of famous figure. This shows the relationship between diversity or interconnectivity and sustainability. That means you are very specific to something, then you can be very efficient. If you want to increase the efficiency, then you have to be optimize your conditions to a certain direction. So you can be very specific, you can be very, very efficient in doing that. But once something different happens, then you lose the efficiency. That means the resilience may be less. So the efficiency and resilience is in the different direction, opposite direction. And if the diversity or interconnectivity increase, then that would lead to greater resilience. On the other hand, if you reduce, if I'm doing something wrong with the controller. If you reduce the diversity or interconnectivity, then you may increase the efficiency. We need to have the balance. If we look at the way of thinking of ourselves, we have been too much emphasizing efficiency. Do we? We pursue efficiency, but that means we lose the resilience. Well, as I said, the uncertainty is a big issue, but I will skip this because of uncertainty. We have to be resilient. If you know everything, then we can be very efficient. Well, the former speakers already indicated that the dynamics is important, and anyway, we are changing. So once we decide something fixed, then that could change. That's why the endpoint definition, what could be the final stage which we pursue, what could be the sustainable society, that's also important. But on the other hand, in order to manage the process or the dynamics, we have to think of how to do and what to do and how to make a decision. That's more social way of thinking. This definition of our goal or endpoint is more like natural science or engineering issue. Transboundary. In fact, there are many boundaries that we have to cross. If you are within a community, then you have to have certain value system. And once you are accustomed to have that value system, then you don't really understand some other value or norms. So that's something I'm talking about. The locality, the locality is something like individual characteristic, but there must be some commonality among the different communities. So that's something we have to pursue. Okay, diversity creates dynamics by providing opportunity to see something new. Because if you have a diversity in terms of way of thinking and so on, then you have more chance to come across something new. That would lead to the new finding, new ideas, and so on. Diversity is an essential asset for sustainability. As I said, we need diversity in order to have some resilience. The respect to diversity is the basis for recognition of commonalities and individual localities. We need the recognition of both of them. And you don't really have to accept what you don't like. That means if you identify something different, and if you don't like that, okay, you leave it. But you have to respect them. And that's the basis of the respect to diversity. Okay, I come to nearly the end of my talk. Social science approaches to sustainability science. Holistic approaches are emphasized in technology development and engineering in the past because in the past we are so much discipline oriented, so the engineers recognize that a bit broader thinking is necessary. That's what's happening in recent years. On the other hand, value or norm-based approaches are significant in some area of social science like sociology or anthropology. So the combination of this value-based approach as well as the holistic approach, that combination is very important. In the discourse of sustainability problems, systems approach have been emphasized and actually applied intensively, but human-conscious or socio-cultural approaches have not been considered sufficiently. The third point, visible contribution of social sciences to sustainability science is to be expected. There should be more involvement of social sciences into the sustainability discussion. And this contribution would strengthen the management of social decision-making process and thus improve the path to sustainable society. That's my message today. And at the end, one more slide, I'm sorry. Basic question about sustainability from the viewpoint of social science. What are norms, values, ethics, mindset that should be adopted by the society in the process of pursuing sustainability? Because we have to find some kind of commonality among us. So that's the task that the social science can do. Can we find a value system that can allow all the Earth citizens to collaborate in pursuing the sustainability society? This is what I mean, commonality. So based on those ideas, we run a program called Graduate Program in Sustainability Science. And I don't explain all the details, but this is a very unique program. We got students from all over the world with the completely different backgrounds. And the interaction among the students, among the faculty members from different disciplines can come up with something new that would lead to sustainability. So at the end, I'm looking forward to collaborate with you all to develop a sustainable society. Thank you very much.